Alrighty, this is blog post number 5. Yeah, number 5. Doing it from my mobile command studio, the 2011 Toyota Prius. Once again, doing it in a parking lot, so beg your forgiveness if it's a little hard to hear at times due to car noise, but this is was the best place to do it. The first 4 posts I did all covered the ketogenic diet and how I'm trying to improve my body by losing weight and getting in shape and just making it function better, even not just from a weight loss perspective, but just from a functionality perspective, being able to run and jump and be mobile as I get older, because I'm up there a little bit, and I would like to not just live a long life, I'd like to live a happy life. Now, a happy life is a functional life. This video I'm going to do a little bit different though. The channel name is Keto Conscience. It's not just about being better, having a better body. It's about having a better mind as well. And I'm going to cover the mind today. The things I do to help improve my mind so that my mind stays sharper and better and happier. These things I do not every day. Some of the things I do is just when I think to do them. So it's like, I'm not sitting here suggesting that you should try to implement all of these things into your daily life to make your mind sharper, but by implementing these things in your life, I do think your mind will be better. The first on the list is the first thing I do in the morning, and that is meditate. I will usually try to meditate twice a day if I can, but I always get the morning meditation in. And I think it's important to start your day off right. A lot of people get a little worried when you start throwing meditation around. They start thinking about it is a religious practice, or they think there are spiritual trappings to it, and there can be. There's nothing wrong with having spiritual trappings to it, but it doesn't have to be. All meditation is just focusing your mind, relaxing your mind, and what this does is it reduces the amount of stress in your life. It helps to give you a clearer mind, a mind that thinks better. If you wish to do your meditation where you meditate on God or the Buddha or whatever your particular religious leanings are, you certainly may do that. It does help, I think, believing that there's a higher power or force out there making things. I think if when you just view the world as a series of random events, I don't think it's. I think it's makes it a little more difficult because you think you're at the whim of random nature, and I would rather focus on thinking that there's a grander scheme to things, and a higher energy, higher power out there guiding things. Meditation doesn't have to be difficult. All I do is after I get done my morning routine of getting a shower and getting the teeth brushed and all that, is I just lay back in bed. I have a bed where I can adjust the back up so that I can sit upright. I would not recommend doing it on a flat bed right after you got up because there's a good chance you go right back to sleep. But I have the back of my bed raised, so I'm in a semi-seated position, semi-reclined position, and I just close my eyes and breathe in and out. Sometimes if I'm having trouble keeping my thoughts clear, I'll actually think as I'm inhaling, breathe in, breathe out. I don't do that every time, but just on the days where I realize I'm having a little trouble keeping the mind clear. And that's the second aspect of the meditation you want to have in. It's not just the focus of breathing or the relaxing, but clearing of the mind. Now, having done this for quite a while now, I'm going to let you know, it's a very difficult thing to do. It's so easy for thoughts to pop in, thoughts about what are going to happen in your day, thoughts that are about what happened yesterday. They're just random thoughts. They just pop in. And when they do, all you have to do is say, oh, that's a thought, and let it go. Don't dwell on the thought. Don't get mad. Don't, judge yourself for that, because all of those are thoughts too. And you're just continuing the thought pattern. And the idea is to break the thought pattern. So break it by saying, just oh, that's just a thought, or even just thought, and let it go, and go back to trying to clear the mind. It'll take time. It'll take you a while before you get to the point where you can truly relax. I know when I get to that point because I can feel it. I mean, there will be a wave of relaxation that goes over my body. I feel lighter, from a mental standpoint. I would assume that's the endorphins kicking in from the meditation. Whatever it is, though, when you get to that point, you'll start feeling it, and just keep trudging at it until you do feel that. It's a practice that gets better with practice. I don't think you ever really like perfect meditation so much as you just continually practice it and get better at it. That's step one. Step two is focusing on the good things in your life. We have a lot of things that come up in our life and we focus on them that are not so good. Our bills are coming due. We're not sure we have enough money. There's a coworker that you don't get along with that you're going to have to deal with today, and you're focusing on that. Whatever it is that's negative, we do a really good job of focusing on those things, but we do a terrible job on reminding ourselves of all the good we have. So I would recommend a gratitude journal. The one I use, and I use it on my iPhone or my iPad, is the 5-minute journal. You start out the beginning of the day talking about 3 things that you're grateful for. You start with 3 things that you're going to do to make the day good, so you're already focusing on the good and making plans on making the day good. And then you end the morning part with an affirmation to yourself. And then later on in the evening, as you're ending your day, there's a nighttime area where you can put in the things that went well. So you're ending the day focusing on the things that went well. And then you can end it up with a thing you could have done that could have made it better. Now, this isn't meant to be a judgmental thing. This isn't meant to be like, hey, stupid, what didn't you do? It's meant to say, hey, if you're being honest with yourself, is there something you could have added which would have made a good day better? Because there's nothing wrong with having a good day being better. Just don't do it from a perspective of I was dumb and did this and I shouldn't have, or I was dumb and didn't do this and I should have. Do it from a perspective of I'm giving myself an idea on how to be better. You don't have to use the 5-minute journal. I just really like it and recommend it. They do make electronic copy and a actual journal copy, no physical journal copy. You can get the physical journal on Amazon, I believe. The iOS one that I use is available via the App Store, and I'm sure there's probably an Android one that's available as well. But just fill that out every day, and when you're starting the day, listing the things that you're grateful for, you're starting off happy. If you're listing the things that you're going to make it even happier, you're just improving that situation. And then right before you're going to bed, when you're finishing that up, which is close to when I do, I usually about an hour or 2 before I go to bed, you're ending the day focusing on the good. And that makes your mind better because you're focusing on the good, not the bad. That reduces your stress, and it gives you a reminder every day of the things that are going well. From a strict functionality perspective, things you can do and things I've started to do, although these are the ones that are not as reliable in my schedule quite yet, are things you can do to make your mind function better through the concept of neuroplasticity, which is your mind improves in the areas that you use and gets rid of the areas that you don't. And that would be, you can do music, learn an instrument you've never done. I went the El Cheapo route with that and got a recorder. It's nice in that it's not very expensive. It's a low cost investment on my part. It does make nice music. It's not making concert level music, but I'm not doing it for concert level presentation. There are plenty of resources out there where you can find online or even on YouTube apps on how to play the recorder. But you're teaching your mind a new skill, and when you're teaching a new skill, it's building new connections. But it's also reinforcing, when you're doing well, it's reinforcing the happy connections. And so it's building what you want to build, and it's getting rid of the stuff that you don't want, which is the unhappy connections. Another one that I've tried recently is learning a new language. I've been kind of a scatter pattern in this because I can't figure out which language I want to learn. So I've been starting with Portuguese, Japanese, and Spanish. I'm just learning. but you get better every day. And try to do one where you can find ways to use it. Just doing it is good, but there's nothing as good as getting feedback on how you're doing. The cafe that I go to for my weekend breakfast each morning on my Saturday and my Sunday, the people there speak Spanish, so I'm able to practice the Spanish with them. And the other on yesterday when I went in, I actually ordered my breakfast in Spanish, which was tres huevos y dos taquinos, por favor. 3 eggs and 2 bacon, please. Again, I need to work on the accent. I need to work on pronunciation, but he understood what I was saying, and he was rather impressed. So that gives me positive feedback. That made me happy. If you're not interested in learning a new language or music's not your thing, learn anything new. Anything that requires you to improve your skill set will improve the functionality of your mind. Knitting, if you want to knit. A sport. Perhaps you want to learn how to do the nunchucks because you think it's really cool when Bruce Lee does the nunchucks and you'd like to be able to do that. Whatever it is, just pick something you want to learn and learn it. Whatever you're doing is creating new connections in your brain. And as you continue to do it, and as you continue to practice, the connections build on themselves. And when you're focusing on things that improve yourself and you're focusing on learning new skills that you feel help you, well, what are you not using? You're not using the old connections that told you that you can't do anything. You're not using the old connections that said, this is as good as I'm getting and I have to deal with it. You're not using the old connections that don't remind you about how good your life is. These are the connections you want to go away. You don't want these connections in your life. Why would you want these in your life? You always can get better. I'm 48 and I'm learning a new language. I'm learning how to play an instrument. It's a recorder, but it's an instrument. I am getting healthier every day. You can get better. It's just a choice for you as to whether or not you want to or not to. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the video here. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please feel free to leave likes and comments. Subscribe if you are so inclined. And I will see you next week.